Hey, good afternoon, and thank everybody for hanging on through this evening. Thank you, MML. Thank you, Stennis, for hosting this and allowing out folks to meet the candidates who are going to be serving them hopefully the next 4 years. So the Public Service Commission, between speakers, as you've seen logos come up on the wall on each billboard here. The Public Service Commission regulates about half of those logos up there, at least almost a half dozen of them. So they think about the water, electricity, natural gas, sewer, telecommunications. Also think about the robocalls and no-call lists. How's that working out for you? There's a lot of things we can do here at the Public Service Commission to help you improve your daily lives, put money back in your pocket. My name is Brent Bailey, and I'm running for Public Service Commissioner in the Central District of Mississippi, 22 county region from Noxubee, Kemper, Lauderdale, across I-20, the metro area, up to Bolivar County, down to Jefferson County. If you're in that area, I certainly hope you would consider me on August the 6th. So I'm running for the Public Service Commission for many different reasons. Number one, I want to help reduce the robocalls that are a nuisance to you as a consumer. Those callers that are trying to scam are most vulnerable. They're ruining your peace, your privacy, and more importantly, they're trying to pick your pocket. We've got to put a stop to that. I'm also running because we need to make sure that our rates are fair for the long term. Now, you know that many people in the municipal side of things, you have your own utilities, whether it's electricity, water, sewer, natural gas. As a Public Service Commissioner, I want to be a partner with you in that. We want to make sure those services are reliable and safe going forward. We understand the responsibilities you have as a leader in your town, your city, your municipality, ensure fair rates for your citizens. We want to help make sure you do that, but we also want to make sure that as you are interconnected to the greater grid, that you provide safety not just for yourself, but for your next door neighbors. So the PSC, just real quick, some of the things I've done. So for the last 13 years, I've worked in the private sector representing you, the ratepayer, the consumer, the everyday bill payer. I've done that as a consumer advocate, to be a watchdog for the consumer, because I want to see Mississippi do much better going forward. Just some of the things that I've been involved in since 2010, a project called Kemper, and we've heard about that a couple times today, that was built in Kemper County. That project was allowed to go to a $7.5 billion price tag before the plug was ever pulled on it. It should have never gotten that far. Back in 2010, I filed written testimony and gave public comments urging the commission not to approve this project because the technology was unproven, the financial burden was going to be terrible for most of Mississippi, particularly along the coastal region, but it would reverberate, it would ripple all across the state. And also the justification, the information used to justify that project was not substantiated. Unfortunately, the project did go forward, and like I said, it got to a $7.5 billion bill. We heard that $6.5 billion was $8 by Mississippi Power and Southern Company. However, over another $1 billion was put on the backs of ratepayers and consumers, and they're still paying for that today. Other things I've done, I helped in 2010 and 2011 create the energy efficiency programs that many of you and your citizens may be enjoying today, helping you reduce your electricity and natural gas use while maintaining comfort and quality of life. And every day you save money, every month you reinvest that back into the community. So those are some of the things that I'm particularly proud of. We also help to reduce and avoid utilities using your dollars to support social causes, public relations events, other activities, taking your money, not allowing you to choose how that is spent. We've also helped to create programs to help you, if you care to, sell energy back to the utility at a fair price. Again, think of me as a pro-consumer. I'm not anti-utility by any means. I understand the important economic partners they are in our communities. Not only do they provide jobs, but they create jobs, and we want to work with them to help making that success. But please remember and vote for Brent Bailey, because I am pro-consumer. I want to be your utility watchdog for the next 4 years. Appreciate your vote on August the 6th and then again in November. Thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. I know that it is 5 o'clock somewhere. Apparently it's almost 5 o'clock here. My name's Nick Lott. I'm originally from Smith County. I went to Ole Miss. Afterwards spent some time in Washington, D.C. and worked under Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott. as a congressional staffer and Congressman J.C. Watts under the House Republican Conference. I moved back to Mississippi, and I've worked under two gubernatorial administrations, Governor Barber and Governor Bryant. For the last 10 years, I have worked under the Mississippi Development Authority, our state economic development agency. And let me just take a moment to pause being here on the coast and the leadership under Mayor Hughes and the other mayors across the area, just to look at the comeback Mississippi's making post-Hurricane Katrina makes me very, very proud. This race is not the sexiest race, not the most exciting race, but it is an important position. The Public Service Commissioner oversees and regulates our utility companies, as you've heard throughout the day probably. That's your gas, your water, your electricity. I pledge to you that I will continue to fight for fair and low rates, but also want to bring some economic development to that position. Those fair rates, we like fair rates, we like low rates, but businesses like fair and low rates as well. And so I'd like to recruit businesses to come into the Central District and employ some of our workers there across the 22 counties in that district. One of the most important issues that we've been discussing on the campaign trail is related to broadband expansion. The legislature finally passed legislation expanding broadband into our rural areas. I was reading the other day that a report came out that Mississippi is the slowest internet state in the nation, behind one state, Alaska. Now, folks, if we can't get rural broadband into our rural areas, we're leaving behind half our citizenship. And that is just unacceptable to me. As your Public Service Commissioner in the Central District, I will fight to make sure that we're expanding broadband, but not only expanding it. The legislature did not particularly lay out how you go about getting broadband into your rural areas. I don't want to just drop this on the desk of our mayors and our city councilmen. I also want to make sure that we are expanding broadband in the most cost-efficient way. And so that may mean that we're not going to be out laying fiber optic cable out in every community. Fiber optic cable costs a lot of money, by the way. I was listening to the Speaker of the House talk the other day, and he said that there was this one area where there were 6 houses, and they did this research and they figured out that it would cost less to move those people to the internet than it would to move the internet to those people. It's approximately $19,000 that you spend per house to make sure that the house is equipped with internet. I think that's the old way of doing things. I think we need to look at new technology. There's fixed point wireless is something that people are familiar with. Fixed point wireless, you can sit an antenna on top of a pole and have it beam the signal from point A to point B. There's also technology called advanced software compression, where they compress the amount of software that's needed to get the internets into those homes. I am committed to making sure we do this, but at a cost-efficient way. The other day I was headed to Meridian and I got a call from myself. Now, I don't know if you've gotten a call from yourself, but it was pretty annoying. I was not happy with myself, but it was not myself. It was from a spam caller. And so we need to do something about robocalls. Those calls are annoying. They're illegal. In some areas, they take up the time and space for hospitals in rural areas to be able to communicate with people in need. I am committed to making sure that we fight those robocalls, and I will work with Senator Wicker, who I've been in talks with, who chairs our Commerce Committee, work with him to make sure we put an end to that. The last thing I'll say to you is I'm honored to be in this race and be running and meeting people across Mississippi, especially in the Central District. I ask that you vote for me on August 6th. I will work very hard for you. I'm humbled and honored to have the support of Governor Bryant and Governor Barber, as well as Senator Trent Lott. Please consider voting for me on August 6th. My name's Nick Lott. Thank you.
Good afternoon. 20 years ago, and that's a long time, I filed a lawsuit regarding the Central Public Service and the Transportation Commissioner's makeup. Women were not represented. There is not a woman on the Public Service Commission's board? Who does the planning in the family as far as the budget is concerned? Women do. Men may bring home the bacon, but we have to distribute and allocate the bacon. Your utilities, what part of your income do utilities take up? Probably much too much. If you are a person that has an income of $10,000 a year, $3,000 per year in utilities is too much. We need to have a system where utilities are based upon income. Water is necessary for life. Gas to keep you warm is necessary for life. Light is necessary. We must have a system that will provide utilities for everyone. Now, I talked about the lawsuit. The lawsuit stated that the percentage of African Americans in the Central District was not correct because the percentage represented children and the children could not vote. So you did not have a majority of women, you did not have a majority of African Americans. I have been in this race for a long time. I've been on the battlefield for a long, long time. But I am about representation. We do not have an African American represented on the board, nor do we have a female. The last time I checked, all of these people were males. Two of them said that they were Democrats, but did that matter? Because Democrats are supposed to help people, and I didn't see them helping people. In fact, they raised your rate. The 22 counties in the Central Mississippi District are the poorest counties in Mississippi. Why would we have two Democrats hurting the poorest people in the state, the poorest counties in the state? So I'm running not because I care to win. I want to win, but if I don't win, I am there to make sure that women and minorities are represented. Thank you so much for inviting me, Mr. Riley, and the other institution, I believe the Municipal League. And this is my last race. I did win the city Democratic, I am the Democratic committee woman for the city of Jackson. I won that race, and it was the only race that I have ever won, although I have ran in many, many races. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for participating. Thank you, Frank, and MML for having us all out here today. My name is Ryan Brown, and I'm a candidate for the Mississippi Public Service Commission in the Central District. And the reason I'm running for the Public Service Commission is pretty simple, that I believe that Mississippians deserve a commissioner who's going to continue fighting for you. So for over the past 3 years and 2 months, I have had the great honor of serving as your deputy commissioner under Commissioner Cecil Brown, who is not seeking re-election this year. So this year I'm asking for your vote for the promotion. And the question that came up earlier was, don't tell me what you're going to do, tell me what you have done. So over the past 3 years, I'll give you a little review of what we've been up to at the Public Service Commission. So I'm the only candidate in this race who has been at the decision-making table when we saved you, the utility ratepayers of the state of Mississippi, over $6 billion. And the only candidate in this race who has successfully been able to take money out of the pocket of the utility companies and keep it in the pocket of the taxpayers of the state of Mississippi. And the only candidate in this race who has successfully challenged these cell phone companies who are saying that they've got the best coverage in America, making you spend $200 a month on services that you cannot use. And the only candidate in this race who has traveled to our universities and colleges, from Russ College at the state line to my alma maters of the University of Mississippi and Jackson State University, all the way down here to Gulf Coast Community College, to build relationships between the utility companies and our schools. Because we have too many of our young folks who are seeking jobs in Atlanta and New Orleans and moving away from their friends and family when they don't have to. Because every single community in the state of Mississippi has a utility provider. Whether it's electric or gas, we got 1,300 water systems in the state of Mississippi. And these are good paying jobs that kids can have right here in their homes so they don't have to move away from their friends and their family. And so this record of results has best prepared me to be your next public service commissioner, because I think it's important that we have a commissioner who's ready to get to work on day one for you. And so to continue the effort of reaching out to all the 22 counties and the 96 municipalities that make up the Central District, I've been to them multiple times. We have set up booths at your fairs, your town carnivals and church groups and senior citizens groups, 650 different types of community events to build that relationship between the communities and the public service commissions. Because y'all get the calls sometimes like I do, that, hey, my light bill's a little off, my gas bill's a little off, can you help me? And so that's what we have set out to do. Y'all hired us to do a job 4 years ago, and we are meeting that promise. And to make sure that we do continue to strengthen our robocall laws, I'm the only one in this race who has worked with our state's law enforcement to help put these telemarketers out of business. So it has been the honor of my life to have served as your deputy commissioner over these past 3 years. And so with your vote in the Democratic primary on August 6th, and if I can't catch you in August, I'll be sure to look for you in November for Ryan Brown to be your next Central District Public Service Commissioner. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. How is everybody doing? Oh no, that's not gonna work for me. I said good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Well, I just want to welcome you to South Mississippi. I live in South Mississippi. My name is Sugar Stallings, Esquire. I've been a commissioner here in this great city that you're in, the city of Biloxi, that I know later you're going to have adult festivities, going to our casinos and all of our fun things. And we want you to enjoy our fun festivities. I also want to say thank you for inviting me to speak in front of, as a stump candidate. I think it's very important to come out and tell people what you want to do. And as Public Service Commissioner for the Southern District, I am a wife of a veteran, an Air Force veteran. My husband joins me today, and I'd just like to say thank you for your service and everybody else who has served. I've worked hard in the community. Not only am I executive director of a nonprofit that I've founded called A Call to Action, but I've worked with the Red Cross. I've also volunteered at the VA. I am a Red Coat ambassador, and I also work as the first female driver for the DAV, Disabled American Veterans. And that's very important because they didn't want a female driver just out of safety issues, but I fought hard for that, because who can we fight for that has fought hard for us but our veterans? So that's why that was important to me. And as a person who is running for Public Service Commissioner, I want to work hard for the Mississippians who are working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet, to pay for water, utility, telecommunications, and sewer. Those aren't wants, ladies and gentlemen, they're needs. I don't know about you, but I was thankful that when I woke up, I was able to turn on my lights. How about you? And those things should be provided to all Mississippians, not just a few. That's why I'm running. I want to do a fair market rate for a fair market price, meaning that if services are not extra provided by Mississippi Power, utility company, water companies, there shouldn't be any rate hikes. Number 2, I want to run a campaign that deals with the robocalls and has a plan in place. As an attorney, I want to work with the Attorney General, because that's not the way we do business in South Mississippi. There shouldn't be spoofing going on to where 601 numbers come on your phone and you're thinking it's your neighbor, your girlfriend, your children, and it's not. You're screening calls all day, and I don't know about you, but I'm not getting paid to screen calls. And that's a problem. So number one, we have to find the businesses, because that's not the way we do business in the state of Mississippi, the hospitality state. Number two, we have to do legal ramifications for these businesses that do impractical practices in the state of Mississippi doing business. We have to deal with that. Number three, I want to run with transparency. As an elected official, I work for you, the taxpayer. You don't work for me. It's not the opposite. I should be out in the community. I should be doing town halls, public hearings, and public forums. I need to make an informed decision on that board, not a decision with my neighbor, myself, and 3 other people I know down the street. That's not the way we need to make decisions. Everybody has a right to have a voice, an active voice, a strong voice, a diverse voice, and that's what I want to bring to this position. Public Service Commissioner is an important position. It affects your everyday living. I don't know about you, but I use my water. I use my lights, I use my water, and I'm thankful for my sewer. But if we don't have it, and if you don't provide those services at a fair rate, we're not able to provide those services to Mississippians. I've been on this campaign trail, thankful to my husband that has been very strong and willing to say, run for this position, going to different areas like Pike County, talking to a girl named Sarah, who had to move back home because not only does her father have a disability, but he's a senior. And so she moved back home with him to save on water, utility, and telecommunications before those things were turned off in her family home, the home that she grew up in. This is not what we want to provide for our youth to go back and help our parents. We want to be able to provide opportunity for all families to be able to afford the likes of water, utility, and telecommunications. So on August 6th, I'm humbly asking for your vote on August 6th. Sugar Stallings, Esquire, Public Service Commissioner for the Southern District. Thank you for your time. Thank you for staying. Thank you for the people in the back. I know you committed that time. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming to the South Mississippi. Spend lots of money, spend lots of cash, because we say once you come to South Mississippi, you'll want to stay in South Mississippi. Thank you so much.
It's a good day to be in Mississippi. My name is DeKeither Stamps, and I'm vying to be your next Central District Public Service Commissioner. Boy, it's a beautiful day outside of Mississippi today, and it's a joy to be here with all of you. You know, every time I come down here to MML, I learn so much, not just from the classes, but from all the leadership and all of the people in the hallways that give expert mentorship. So I appreciate you. Over the last 6 years, I haven't missed a conference, and I just want to say thank you to the MML staff, the Sentence Institute, and everyone who helps to put this together and allow us a space to tell our stories. And all of you who stayed the long day. I grew up in a little small town called Learned, Mississippi. Population 50. There's probably more folks in this room than in Learned, Mississippi. But I learned the hard work and dedication necessary to move forward. And that upbringing gave me the backbone and the background to leave and go join the United States Marine Corps and serve in a few wars and come on back to Mississippi. And when I came back to Mississippi, you know, I sat back and I almost cried because the Mississippi that was in my heart all over the world, the Mississippi that was in my heart in Africa and in Iraq and Europe and all throughout the Middle East, wasn't the Mississippi I saw with my eyes. The growth wasn't there that I expected. I had come home to visit a few times over the course of my career, but that growth wasn't there. And my grandmother told me, well, boy, either you're going to be part of the problem or be part of the solution. So I stepped forward to be a municipal elected official in Jackson, Mississippi, where I've had the honor and privilege of being on the Jackson City Council for the last almost 6 years. And it's been great. And now we want to take that experience forward and put the service back in Public Service Commission. Over my life, I've served in the military for a career. Now I got a son in the Navy and a daughter in the Air Force. And my son is deployed in Syria right now. So I appreciate my son and my daughter and all the rest of the veterans that are out there in their service and the families that supported them. But we got a critical point right here in this Public Service Commission race. They say the best to last because we vie to be the most profitable public service commission that's ever hit the streets in Mississippi. Our franchise fees, our use of public lands, and our use of our cell phone networks are important. They're not where they need to be. But that's an opportunity for local government to step forward, and your Public Service Commission can help you build your economy of your local government by negotiating with these cell phone companies adequate tower lease rates, land lease rates, so you can make money in the local government and you do with the money what you wish. Your Public Service Commission should guide you in helping you become more profitable. That's what I pledge to you, is to do everything in my power to increase the revenue of local government through our franchise rates. When you look at the water tower in Leland, it has a radio for the police department, even though it sits right on the highway. When you look at the water tower in Vicksburg, old brother George Flaggs has it lit up like a Christmas tree over there. That's money. That's real revenue, ways for you to save money and make money. And I'm honored and privileged to be endorsed by Mayor George Flaggs and many more mayors around the state. I see the mayor of Mountain Bayou here and several more in the back, Mayor Wallace. We're all going to work together to increase the revenue, to save money and make money with the Public Service Commission office. I see my hometown mayor, Mayor Sally Garland over at Crystal Springs. I appreciate all the hard work of mayors and council people, because we must work together to build the economy of Mississippi so that we can make the Mississippi that's in our heart match the Mississippi that's in our eyes. My name is DeKeither Stamps, and I've served for the past few years on the Jackson City Council. I appreciate your prayers, because we've already driven 26,000 miles over the Central District. We've got a long way to go. Pray for all the candidates on the ballot, because that highway has deers everywhere. Pray for their safe travels, pray for their families, and be sure on August the 6th, vote for DeKeither Stamps for your next Central District Public Service Commissioner. And on November 5th, let's bring it on home. God bless, Godspeed, DeKeither Stamps.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for hanging out toward the end. I have enjoyed myself listening to all of the different candidates. Thanks to all of them as well. It takes a little gumption to run for office, as all of us in this room know. Thanks to MML for inviting me this evening. And I want to tell you why I am interested in being your next Public Service Commissioner for the Southern District, all the way from Natchez across to below Meridian, down to the coast, the Gulf Coast. My name is Connie Moran. I was the mayor of Ocean Springs for 3 terms. I've enjoyed very much being a member of MML, and I've learned a lot about community development and public accountability as an MML member. I am one of you. I also have overseen the road constructions, the water and sewer, dealing with the power companies. Even before that, I was an economic developer for over 20 years. I worked for the Mississippi Development Authority, and I ran their office in Germany. I speak fluent German, and I worked before as an economist at the World Trade Organization in Geneva. So I've had a lot of international experience and the state and the local level promoting the state of Mississippi. And why? To promote jobs, to increase our level of education and quality of life. And I think that that is really the crux of what the PSC is all about, creating jobs, and it touches our everyday life. That's correct. The water, the sewer, power, gas, cell phone coverage, as well as those annoying, pesky robocalls. We have to do something about all of that. And of course, the water and wastewater systems. I certainly dealt with PSC quite often as we reached out beyond our city limits to help take over some of the smaller private water systems. Probably you all have had that same experience. It's about providing the quality, and we want affordable and efficient, as the law says, utility rates. And I can promise you this. As your next Public Service Commissioner, I will not vote for one more penny for boondoggle projects like the Kemper plant. I can guarantee you that. I will be fair. I'll look at all the documentation, but make no bones about it, they are going to come back to the PSC, the major utility companies, and ask for rate hikes. I will be fair. I will review all the information and work with the PSC staff and my own staff and the other 2 commissioners. And it will be fair and affordable because why? We want to create jobs. It's not only about our citizens having access to affordable rates, but also to attract business. And that's what I did for well over 20 years. I was also the head of the Jackson County Economic Development Foundation after having served for 6 years for the Mississippi Development Authority in Europe. I covered all of Europe, trying to recruit businesses here to the state of Mississippi to create jobs. That's what it's really all about. And it's also, I'll be a strong advocate trying to shift to more renewable energy technologies. I'm all for expanding natural gas to the rural areas because right now it's so much less expensive than propane. I will follow what Brandon Presley in the Northern District has really started with better cell phone coverage and broadband internet. Just think of the advantages that our children, our students have if they have access to fast-speed internet. And we have it here in the metropolitan areas, but most of the rural areas do not. We want our children to stay here in Mississippi, or if they go away for college or some job, we want them to come back. We have to create an infrastructure, and it's not just roads and bridges. It's clean water, new vision for how we are going to create energy in the future. Those are jobs in the renewable energy sector. We have to have fast internet, cell phone coverage, which they take for granted in many other states. We have got to raise the bar. I have the experience as a mayor and an economic developer to take that skill set, as well as emergency management since I was the Katrina mayor for Ocean Springs. And having rebuilt our community, I do invite you all to go over to Ocean Springs, by the way. I still live there. It's a wonderful community, beautiful Main Street. Take a look at our beach, all the parks that we have built. That is my heart. I want to serve the people. I want the state of Mississippi to be great. I want it to have the infrastructure, roads, bridges, cell phone, internet, the things that we all deserve that enhance our quality of life. And I will listen to all of your complaints. I want to serve the people. My name is Connie Moran. I'm running for PSC Southern District. Please vote for me August 6th, and hopefully we will also see you in November. Thank you, and thank you for hanging out.